XRP community. Unfortunately, if you've been paying attention to the news about what happened to one of the XRP family members or XRP army members, Brandon here shared his story on YouTube, and I think it's more important now than ever before to make sure you're practicing safe trading and safe utilization of storing your cryptocurrency. Unfortunately, Brandon shared a story about losing $3 million, over 1.2 million XRP tokens, because he put it in a cold storage wallet, believing that it's going to be the safe haven and a place to keep your crypto. Because as they always have been saying to us time and time again, not your keys, not your crypto. In today's video, we're going to talk about the breakdown of what happened to Brandon's XRP tokens that were completely stolen. Zach XBT, one of the biggest and best sleuths for blockchain based out of crypto Twitter or X, kind of gave a really nice breakdown on where the funds went, how it was funneled, and then unfortunately ended up in the wrong hands and taken from Brandon forever. In today's video, again, we're going to highlight some of the other things and ways to keep your crypto protected from having these kind of incidences occur to you. So you guys know I talk about I Trust Capital time and time and time again. It's a partner of the channel, and I did not choose them lightly because I keep my own XRP holdings in the I Trust Capital account. The reason being is, aside from the fact that it has all the things you really want to see, where my data tracking is, what my XRP holdings are at, oftentimes they tell us that cold storage is the best place to keep our crypto. But the issue with cold storage is if you ever lose your seeds, or if you got your cold storage wallet, like what happened to Brandon from a third-party site, they end up creating phishing links or phishing wallets that you might think are otherwise completely safe. So with I Trust Capital, the reason that I personally utilize their platform and why I think some of you should consider looking into it is, aside from buying and selling crypto with I Trust Capital, they offer the most important feature, in my opinion, more even than their individual retirement accounts or the traditional Roth and SEP IRAs, but the institutional premium custody account. With our closed loop system, your crypto transactions stay secure, no external wallets, no unnecessary risks, just a trusted way to buy, sell, and custody with confidence. Institutional grade like BlackRock, Fidelity, and those guys that can sleep at night and not worry about where their XRP holdings or any other cryptocurrencies go. Award-winning US-based support, low cost, and no monthly fees. So you can't really get better than it. So I would highly recommend, check out the link down below. There's a promo code at YourPop8. They'll give you a funding bonus and other things as well if you utilize the link down below. It's seamless, it's easy, and again, I back it by saying I put my own money into it. And of course, I am a partner with I Trust Capital. So let's take it to Zach XBT, a really good breakdown of what happened to Brandon and how to avoid it. Because you could use ledgers or Trezors, other cold storage forms, but what you need to make sure here is you are protecting yourself. A video went viral on YouTube this week after a US-based victim lost 3.05 million or 1.2 million XRP tokens from his Eli Powell wallet. Here's the tracing of where the stolen funds ended up and the biggest takeaways for similar thefts. So let's go ahead and go through the breakdown. Although the victim did not directly share the theft address, after watching the video, I found it by reviewing the date and amount. Here's the wallet address that Zach posted. The victim seems inexperienced and does not provide enough details to determine how the wallet became compromised, beside it being user error. The attacker created 120 plus Ripple to Tron orders via bridges on October 12, 2025 on block explorers with the transactions that show as Binance, since the bridgers, formerly Swift or SWFT, uses them for their initial liquidity. Following this mesh, you can kind of see where the funds left Brandon's wallet and then got dispersed into multiple wallets as they were trying to change the order, change the bridge, just take and basically clean out the money and utilize things like OTC sales, which you see here. The funds consolidated on Tron at the following address on October 12th. By the 15th, the funds were completely laundered away to OTCs or over-the-counter desks adjacent to illicit online marketplace in C. So Huon has directly facilitated laundering billions in illicit funds over the past couple of years from pig butchering scams, investment scams, human trafficking, and hacks, as well as exploits in Southeast Asia. Last week, The US applied additional restrictions against this group in relation to the $15 billion Prince Group seizure and sanctions. I hope centralized exchanges and stablecoin issuers implement stricter controls, as they are one of the bigger threats impacting the longevity of our space. One lesson our industry needs to do better is not causing confusion with products when you offer both custodial and non-custodial products. The XRP victim thought they were using the Illipal cold wallet product when it was actually a hot wallet. Frequently, I see large Coinbase support impersonation thefts where victims transfer funds from their Coinbase exchange account to a compromised Coinbase wallet after being social engineered. After those victims sometimes state they did not know the difference between the products. So Zach is basically making sure we highlight that you need to make sure the products that you are utilizing on a day-to-day basis in crypto are ones that you actually understand, and you do your full due diligence before putting in your entire retirement fund like Brandon did, which is just such a sad story and sad moment in time. The XRP victim mentioned in a later video how they could not quickly get in touch with US law enforcement for a $3 million theft. There's a few LE qualified to handle such cases, and endless victims reports, so naturally incidents are overlooked. In general, US, Netherlands, Singapore, France have better jurisdictions for victims to work with. From my experience, though it ultimately depends on who is assigned the case. It becomes much more unreliable in other jurisdictions, and it's extremely costly to go the civil route. Another lesson is greater than 95% of recovery companies are predatory and charge large amounts of basic reports with a few actionable insights. So he says here, I have found the firms who optimize SEO tend to be the most predatory. Predatory firms will pursue cases when recovery does not seem viable just to bill desperate victims. Bad firms would have stopped tracing this XRP theft at Binance and have created a report saying contact Binance, when in reality the service was bridges, or would have failed to identify addresses linked to Huey 1, we'll call it. I might be pronouncing that incorrectly. Another issue for the few legitimate firms is desperate victims have unrealistic expectations about the possibility for recovery. Unfortunately, the likelihood of the victim seeing any of the funds recovered is rather low due to the delay in reporting the theft to competent people within the private sector. I recommend the victims try to report theft addresses to people as soon as possible, as otherwise it would, and it can be difficult to detect that theft even took place. Ripple does not have a good support system for victims within their community as there is in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and major EVM chains. I always try to reply to people who contact me about verified recent thefts greater than $250,000 to at least instruct them to report the flag addresses. However, it becomes quite difficult when you receive 30 plus inbounds per day. That means a lot of people are falling victim to these scams. And the most important thing right now is we're anticipating a big bull run, but we need to take a pause, hit the brakes, and make sure we are practicing safety. Whether you're using things like I Trust Capital for my personal custody on my XRP. When it comes to my non-XRP holdings, my EVM-based cryptocurrencies, I try to keep them in a cold storage when I can, like Ledger, Trezor. There's so many other ones. But of course, you can also use external devices that you keep as a closed loop system as well. So again, guys, I just want to make sure to come on here and preach time and time again to just be extremely cautious, extremely safe, because that's the last thing I want to see is one of our own family members and friends or people we care about, or just people in the community. Every time a victim falls for one of these scams, unfortunately, it's one person down, but a lot more people scared on what to do next. I appreciate your support as always. That's all I had for you guys today. And until next time, as always, everybody, keep investing. Peace.